Introduction. In today's increasingly interconnected and digital world, the ability to have meaningful conversation with others is more important than ever. Whether you're looking to make new friends, build professional relationships, or simply connect with people from different walks of life, having the skills to converse with anyone, anywhere is essential. In this audiobook, you will learn how to initiate and maintain conversations, navigate social norms and cultural differences, and effectively communicate your thoughts and ideas. With practical tips and techniques for conversation starters, active listening, and building rapport, you will have the confidence and know how to connect with anyone, anytime, anywhere. Chapter 1. Effective Communication. Effective communication is essential for building and maintaining healthy relationships, both personal and professional. Here are a few key elements that can contribute to good communication. 1. Active listening. Paying attention to what the other person is saying and showing that you are listening can help to build trust and understanding. This involves not just hearing the words being said, but also attempting to understand the underlying message and perspective of the speaker. 2. Clarity. Clearly expressing your thoughts and ideas can help to ensure that they are understood by others. This involves using language that is appropriate for the audience and avoiding ambiguous or confusing language. 3. Empathy. Being able to understand and share the feelings of others can help to build stronger connections and foster mutual understanding. Empathy involves being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and trying to see things from their perspective. 4. Respect. Showing respect for the thoughts and feelings of others is an important aspect of good communication. This involves being open to the idea and perspective of others, even if you don't necessarily agree with them. 5. Non-verbal communication. In addition to verbal communication, non-verbal cues such as body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice can also convey meaning and impact the effectiveness of communication. Paying attention to these cues can help to improve understanding and facilitate effective communication. Chapter 2. Key elements of good communication. Good communication refers to the ability to effectively exchange thoughts, ideas, and information with others. It involves being able to clearly and effectively express oneself, as well as being able to actively listen and understand the perspective of others. Good communication can be an important factor in building and maintaining healthy relationships, both personal and professional. Effective communication involves a number of key elements, including clarity, clearly expressing thoughts and ideas in a way that is easy for others to understand, active listening, paying attention to what others are saying and showing that you are listening, empathy, being able to understand and share the feelings of others, respect, showing respect for the thoughts and feelings of others, even if you don't necessarily agree with them. Non-verbal communication. Paying attention to non-verbal cues such as body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. Effective communication requires being able to effectively convey and receive information, and it can be an important factor in building and maintaining strong relationships. Chapter 3. How to overcome shyness. Shyness can be natural and normal feeling but it can sometimes hold us back and make it difficult to fully engage with others. Here are a few tips for overcoming shyness and putting others at ease. 1. Practice self acceptance. It's important to recognize and accept that everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, and that it's okay to be shy. This can help to reduce the anxiety and pressure that often comes with trying to be someone you're not. 2. Prepare in advance. If you know you're going to be in a social situation, it can be helpful to prepare in advance. This might involve thinking about potential conversation starters or coming up with a list of things you would like to talk about. 3. Take small steps. It's okay to start small and gradually build up your social confidence. This might involve joining a group or club that interests you, or simply say hello and making small talk with someone you don't know. 4. Focus on the other person. One way to put others at ease is to focus on them and show genuine interest in what they have to say. This can help to create a sense of connection and make it easier to engage in conversation. 5. Practice deep breathing and relaxation techniques. Taking deep breaths and using relaxation techniques can help to reduce anxiety and calm the mind, which can make it easier to engage with others. It's also worth noting that it can take time and practice to overcome shyness, and it's okay to take things at your own pace. Remember that everyone has their own unique strengths, and it's okay to be true to yourself. Chapter 4. How to choose conversation topics. Choosing an appropriate conversation topic can depend on a number of factors, including the audience, the context, and the purpose of the conversation. Here are a few tips for selecting an appropriate conversation topic. 1. Consider the audience. It's important to think about who you will be talking to and what their interests and backgrounds might be. Choosing a topic that is relevant and interesting to the audience can help to make the conversation more engaging. 2. Take cues from the context. The setting and purpose of the conversation can also influence what topics might be appropriate. For example, a more formal setting might lend itself to more serious or business related topics, while a casual gathering might allow for more light-hearted conversation. 3. Avoid sensitive or controversial topics. It's usually best to avoid sensitive or controversial topics, especially if you don't know the audience well, or if the purpose of the conversation is to build relationships or foster teamwork. 4. Consider the purpose of the conversation. Consider what you hope to achieve through the conversation and choose a topic that aligns with that goal. For example, if the purpose is to get to know someone better, you might choose a topic that allows for more personal or open ended conversation. 5. Keep an open mind. Be open to exploring new topics and adapting to the interests and needs of the audience. It's okay to steer the conversation in a different direction if it's not going well, or if you feel that a different topic might be more engaging or appropriate. Ultimately, the key is to be mindful of the audience and the context and choose a topic that is appropriate and relevant to the situation. Chapter 5. How to ace a job interview. Acing a job interview can be a daunting task, but there are several steps you can take to improve your chances of success. 1. Research the company. It's important to have a good understanding of the company you are applying to, including its products or services, mission, and culture. This can help you to better tailor your response to the specific needs of the company and demonstrate you fit for the role. 2. Prepare for common interview questions. There are several common interview questions that you can expect to be asked, such as: tell me about yourself, why do you want to work for our company, and what are your strengths and weaknesses. Practice your responses to these questions in advance so that you feel more confident and prepared during the interview. 3. Practice your communication skills. A job interview is an opportunity to showcase your communication skills. So be sure to practice your speaking and listening skills in advance. This might involve practicing in front of a mirror with a friend or with a career counselor. 4. Dress for success. It's important to present a professional appearance at the interview. So be sure to dress appropriately for the role and the company culture. 5. Show enthusiasm and engagement. Employers are often looking for candidates who are genuinely interested in the role and the company. So be sure to show enthusiasm and engagement during the interview. 6. Follow up after the interview. It's a good idea to follow up with a thank you note or email after the interview to thank the interviewer for their time and reiterate your interest in the role. Acing a job interview requires preparation, confidence, and a good communication skills. By following these tips, you can increase your chances of success and land the job you want. Effective communication skills are essential for acing a job interview. Here are a few key communication skills that can help you to succeed. 1. Active listening. Paying close attention to what the interviewer is saying and asking and demonstrating that you are listening can help to show that you are engaged and interested in the role. 2. Clarity. Clearly expressing your thoughts and ideas in a way that is easy for the interviewer to understand can help to showcase your ability to communicate effectively. 3. Confidence. Demonstrate confidence in your abilities and experiences can help to show that you are a strong candidate for the role. 4. Adaptability. Being able to adapt your communication style to the needs and preferences of the interviewer can help to show that you are a good fit for the company culture. 5. Empathy. Being able to understand and respond to the needs and concerns of the interviewer can help to build a sense of rapport and connection. 6. Professionalism. Maintaining a professional demeanor and using appropriate language and body language can help to show that you are a reliable and trustworthy candidate. By demonstrating these communication skills during the interview, you can increase your chances of success and showcase your fit for the role. Chapter 6. How to run a meeting. Effective meetings can be an important tool for achieving goals and making decisions within an organization. Here are a few tips for running an effective meeting. 1. Clearly define the purpose and goals of the meeting. It's important to have a clear understanding of the purpose of the meeting and the specific goals you hope to achieve. This can help to focus the discussion and ensure that the meeting is productive. 2. Invite the right people. Invite only those individuals who are necessary for achieving the goals of the meeting. This can help to ensure that the group is small enough to be productive, but large enough to get a diverse range of perspectives. 3. Prepare an agenda. An agenda helps to structure the meeting and ensure that all necessary topics are covered. It is a good idea to distribute the agenda in advance so that attendees can come prepared to discuss the items on it. 4. Encourage participation. Encourage all attendees to participate in the discussion and contribute their ideas and perspectives. This can help to create a sense of teamwork and ensure that all voices are heard. 5. Stay on track. It's important to stay focused on the purpose and goals of the meeting and avoid getting sidetracked by unrelated topics. 6. Follow up after the meeting. It's a good idea to follow up with a summary of the meeting and any next steps or action items that were agreed upon. This can help to ensure that everyone is on the same page and that progress is made towards achieving the goals of the meeting. Effective meetings require careful planning and effective communication. By following these steps, you can help to ensure that your meetings are productive and successful. Effective communication skills are essential for running an effective meeting. Here are a few key communication skills that can help you to successfully lead a meeting. 1. Clarity. Clearly expressing the purpose and goals of the meeting and outlining the agenda can help to ensure that all attendees understand the purpose of the meeting and are prepared to participate. 2. Active listening. Paying attention to the ideas and perspectives of all attendees and demonstrating that you are listening can help to encourage participation and ensure that all voices are heard. 3. Facilitation. Leading the discussion and guiding the conversation towards the goal of the meeting requires effective facilitation skills. This might involve asking open end questions, encouraging participation, and managing any conflicts or disagreement that may arise. 4. Empathy. Being able to understand and respond to the needs and concern of attendees can help to create a sense of teamwork and ensure that all perspectives are considered. 5. Confidence. Demonstrating confidence in your leadership and decision making abilities can help to inspire trust and ensure that the meeting stays on track. 6. Professionalism. Maintaining a professional demeanor and using appropriate language and body language can help to create a respectful and productive atmosphere. By demonstrating these communication skills, you can effectively lead a meeting and achieve the goals you have set. Chapter 7. What's the most successful conversationalists have in common? Successful conversationalists generally have a few key traits in common. Here are a few examples. 1. Active listening skills. Successful conversationalists are typically good at actively listening to others and demonstrating that they are paying attention. This might involve making eye contact, nodding, and asking clarifying questions. 2. Empathy. Successful conversationalists are often able to understand and respond to the needs and feelings of others. This might involve being able to put themselves in someone else's shoes and showing genuine interest in what the other person has to say. 3. Confidence. Successful conversationalists often exhibit confidence in their ability to engage in meaningful and productive conversations. This doesn't necessarily mean being overly assertive or dominating the conversation, but rather being able to express their thoughts and ideas in a clear and confident manner. 4. Flexibility. Successful conversationalists are often able to adapt to the needs and preferences of their conversation partners. This might involve being able to adjust their communication style or change the topic of the conversation based on the needs of the situation. 5. Curiosity. Successful conversationalists are often curious and open to learning from others. This might involve asking open ended questions and being genuinely interested in hearing others' perspectives and experiences. By demonstrating these traits, successful conversationalists are able to engage in meaningful and productive conversations that build trust, foster understanding, and strengthen relationships. Chapter 8. How to make a good first impression. Making a good first impression can be an important factor in personal and professional relationships. Here are a few tips for making a good first impression. 1. Dress appropriately. Dressing appropriately for the occasion can help to convey a sense of professionalism and respect. 2. Practice good hygiene. Good hygiene practices such as brushing your teeth and washing your hands can help to convey a sense of cleanliness and care. 3. Be punctual. Arriving on time can help to show that you are reliable and respectful of others' time. 4. Use good body language. Good body language, such as making eye contact and smiling, can help to convey a sense of openness and friendliness. 5. Be friendly and approachable. Being friendly and approachable can help to put others at ease and create a positive atmosphere. 6. Show genuine interest. Showing genuine interest in others can help to build trust and rapport. This might involve asking open ended questions and paying attention to what others have to say. By following these tips, you can make a good first impression and set the stage for positive relationships. Chapter 9. How to master small talk. Small talk is a way to engage in casual conversation with others in order to get to know them better or to build a relationship. It can be helpful in social situations such as at parties or events or in professional settings such as networking events or business meetings. Here are some tips for mastering small talk. 1. Start with a greeting. Greet the person you are speaking with and introduce yourself. 2. Make eye contact. Make eye contact and smile to show that you are interested in the conversation. 3. Ask open ended questions. Ask questions that cannot be answered with a simple yes or no to encourage the other person to share more about themselves. 4. Listen actively. Pay attention to what the other person is saying and show that you are interested by nodding or asking follow up questions. 5. Share something about yourself. Share a bit about yourself to give the other person something to respond to. 6. Keep the conversation light. Avoid controversial or sensitive topics and try to keep the conversation light and positive. 7. Be aware of body language. Pay attention to your own body language and try to be open and friendly. 8. End the conversation gracefully. When it's time to end the conversation, thank the other person for their time and say goodbye. By following these tips, you can improve your small talk skills and feel more comfortable engaging in casual conversation with others. Chapter 10. How to hone listening skills. Effective listening is an important skill that can help you understand and retain information, build relationships, and improve communication with others. Here are some tips for honing your listening skills. 1. Pay attention. Make an effort to focus on what the other person is saying and avoid distractions, such as checking your phone or thinking about something else. 2. Show that you are listening. Use body language such as nodding or making eye contact to show that you are paying attention. 3. Avoid interrupting. Allow the other person to finish speaking before you respond. 4. Clarify. If you are unsure about something the other person has said, ask for clarification rather than making assumptions. 5. Reflect. Repeat back or paraphrase what the other person has said to show that you have understood them. 6. Empathize. Try to see things from the other person's perspective and show understanding for their feelings or experiences. By practicing these techniques, you can improve your listening skills and become a more effective communicator. Seamless conversations are those that flow naturally and smoothly, without awkward pauses or interruptions. Here are some tips for making seamless conversation. 1. Be present. Pay attention to the other person and stay focused on the conversation. 2. Use open ended questions. Ask questions that cannot be answered with simple yes or no to encourage the other person to share more about themselves. 3. Listen actively. Pay attention to what the other person is saying and show that you are interested by nodding or asking follow up questions. 4. Use non-verbal cues. Use body language such as nodding or making eye contact to show that you are listening and engaged in the conversation. 5. Avoid controversial or sensitive topics. Stick to neutral or light topics to keep the conversation flowing smoothly. 6. Use appropriate humor. Humor can be a great way to lighten the mood, but be mindful of the other person's sense of humor and avoid making jokes that could be offensive or inappropriate. By following these tips, you can create more seamless conversations and build better connections with others. Chapter 11. Good communication to build confidence. Good communication skills can increase confidence in both personal and professional settings. When you are able to express yourself clearly and effectively, it can boost your self esteem and make you feel more confident in your ability to communicate with others. Additionally, good communication involves actively listening and seeking to understand others, which can help you feel more connected and empathetic towards others. This, in turn, can increase your confidence in your ability to build relationships and interact with others. Effective communication is an important skill that can help you feel more confident in a variety of situations, such as giving presentations, participating in meetings, or interacting with others in social setting. By improving your communication skills, you can increase your confidence and feel more comfortable and effective in your interactions with others. Telling an amazing story involves engaging the audience. Using descriptive language and organizing the story in a way that is clear and easy to follow. Here are some tips for telling and structuring an amazing story. 1. Know your audience. Consider who you are telling the story to and tailor it to their interests and attention span. 2. Start with a hook. Grab the audience attention with an interesting opening or a compelling question. 3. Use descriptive language. Use vivid and descriptive language to help the audience visualize the story and feel more engaged. 4. Use action verbs. Use action verbs to add energy and excitement to the story. 5. Use dialogue. Including dialogue can help to bring the story to life and make it more engaging. 6. Use a clear structure. Organize the story in a way that is easy to follow with a clear beginning, middle, and end. 7. Practice. Practice telling the story out loud to get a feel for the pacing and flow. By following these tips, you can structure and tell an amazing story that engages and captivates your audience. Chapter 12. Conversation Starters. Here are some examples of conversation starters that you can use in a variety of situations. 1. How was your day? 2. What do you do for work/study? 3. What are your hobbies? 4. Have you traveled anywhere recently? 5. What do you like to do in your free time? What are you currently reading/watching/listening to? 7. What did you do over the weekend? 8. Do you have any upcoming plans or events? 9. Have you tried any new restaurants or activities recently? 10. What are you looking forward to? Remember to be respectful and considerate when using these conversation starters, and be prepared to listen and engage with the other person. Small talk is a way to engage in casual conversation with others in order to get to know them better or to build a relationship. Here are some tips for making small talk. 1. Start with a greeting. Greet the person you are speaking with and introduce yourself. 2. Make eye contact. Make eye contact and smile to show that you are interested in the conversation. 3. Ask open-ended questions. Ask questions that cannot be answered with a simple yes or no to encourage the other person to share more about themselves. 4. Listen actively. Pay attention to what the other person is saying and show that you are interested by nodding or asking follow-up questions. 5. Share something about yourself. Share a bit about yourself to give the other person something to respond to. 6. Keep the conversation light. Avoid controversial or sensitive topics and try to keep the conversation light and positive. 7. Be aware of body language. Pay attention to your own body language and try to be open and friendly. Being a good communicator involves the ability to effectively listen, speak, and understand others. Here are some tips for becoming the best communicator you can be. 1. Practice active listening. Pay attention to what the other person is saying and show that you are interested by nodding or asking follow-up questions. 2. Use clear and concise language. Be direct to the point and avoid using jargon or confusing language. 3. Seek to understand others. Try to see things from the other person's perspective and ask questions to clarify their thoughts or feelings. 4. Use non-verbal cues. Use body language such as eye contact and facial expressions to convey your message and show that you are engaged in the conversation. 5. Be open to feedback. Be open to hearing feedback about your communication style and be willing to make changes to improve your skills. By following these tips, you can become a more effective and confident communicator and build strong relationships with others. Chapter 13. Charisma. Charisma is the ability to attract and influence others through your personal charm and confidence. Here are some tips for becoming more charismatic. 1. Be confident. Believe in yourself and your abilities, and don't be afraid to take risks or try new things. 2. Be positive. Radiate positivity and enthusiasm and try to focus on the good things in life. 3. Be authentic. Be genuine and authentic and don't try to be someone you are not. 4. Show interest in others. Pay attention to others and show a genuine interest in their lives and experiences. 5. Use body language. Use confident body language such as maintaining eye contact and use open gestures to convey your message and build rapport with others. 6. Practice good communication skills. Use effective listening and speaking skills to connect with others and build strong relationships. By following these tips, you can become more charismatic and more effective in influencing and connecting with others. Making someone feel comfortable talking to you involves creating a welcoming and safe environment for them to share their thoughts and feelings. Here are some tips for making someone feel comfortable talking to you. 1. Show interest in them. Show genuine interest in the other person and what they have to say by asking open-ended questions and actively listening to their responses. 2. Use non-verbal cues. Use positive body language such as maintaining eye contact and smiling to show that you're open and approachable. 3. Create a safe space. Make it clear that you are open to hearing their thoughts and feelings and that you will respect their confidentiality. 4. Be empathetic. Try to see things from the other person's perspective and show understanding for their feelings and experiences. 5. Avoid judging. Avoid making judgments or offering unsolicited advice, and instead focus on listening and supporting the other person. By following these tips, you can create a comfortable and welcoming environment for others to share with you. Chapter 14: Public Speaking. Speaking in public can be intimidating, but there are steps you can take to improve your public speaking skills. Here are some tips for speaking in public. 1. Prepare. Spend time researching and organizing your thoughts and material beforehand to help you feel more confident. 2. Practice. Practice your delivery out loud to get a feel for the pacing and flow of the speech. 3. Use visual aids. Use visual aids such as slides or props to help illustrate your points and keep the audience engaged. 4. Use descriptive language. Use descriptive language to help the audience visualize your message and feel more engaged. 5. Use pauses and inflection. Use pauses and inflection to add emphasis and variety to your delivery. 6. Make eye contact. Make eye contact with your audience to establish a connection and engage them in your message. 7. Be yourself. Be authentic and genuine, and don't try to be someone you are not. By following these tips and practicing your public speaking skills, you can improve your confidence and delivery when speaking in public. Holding people's attention can be challenging, especially in the world where there are so many distractions. Here are some tips for holding people's attention. 1. Start with a hook. Grab the audience's attention with an interesting opening or a compelling question. 2. Use descriptive language. Use vivid and descriptive language to help the audience visualize your message and feel more engaged. 3. Use visual aids. Use visual aids such as slides or props to help illustrate your points and keep the audience engaged. 4. Use storytelling. Use storytelling techniques such as using characters and plot to help engage the audience and make your message more memorable. 5. Use humor. Use appropriate humor to lighten the mood and keep the audience engaged. 6. Be passionate. Show enthusiasm and passion for your topic to engage the audience and keep their attention. 7. Be interactive. Involve the audience in your presentation by asking questions or asking for feedback. By following these tips, you can hold people's attention and effectively communicate your message. Chapter 15: How to close a conversation. It's important to know how to gracefully close or leave a conversation in order to respect the other person's time and boundaries. Here are some tips for successful closing or leaving a conversation. 1. Use non-verbal cues. Use body language such as checking the time or looking away to signal that the conversation is coming to an end. 2. Use verbal cues. Use verbal cues such as thanking the other person for their time or saying, It was nice talking to you, to signal that the conversation is coming to an end. 3. Make a plan for the next time. If you would like to continue the conversation at a later time, make a plan to do so and set a date and time. 4. Excuse yourself. If you need to leave the conversation for any reason, excuse yourself politely and thank the other person for their time. By following these tips, you can close or leave a conversation gracefully and respect the other person's boundaries. This has been How to Talk to Anybody. Discover how to talk to anyone with ease and influence and become a confident communicator. Written by Andy Noham and read by Shafi. This is Learn to Win Arguments, the ultimate guide on how to master the art of persuasion to win arguments and sway people. Written by Keith Bankston. Read by Shafi. Introduction. Do you find yourself struggling to make your point heard in conversations and debates? Do you often feel that your arguments fall on deaf ears no matter how well thought out they are? If so, you are not alone. Many people struggle with effectively communicating their ideas and persuading others to see things their way. However, the good news is that these skills can be learned and honed with practice. In this audiobook, we will explore the art of persuasion and the key principles of critical thinking and logic. You will learn how to identify different types of arguments, gather evidence, develop a persuasive case, and deliver it effectively. We will also cover advanced argumentation techniques and the ethics of argumentation, helping you to become a confident and persuasive communicator. With the skills and techniques covered in this audiobook, you will be able to effectively communicate your ideas and persuade others to see things your way. So let's get started on your journey to becoming a master of argumentation. Chapter 1. Understanding the art of persuasion. The art of persuasion is a crucial skill that has been valued for centuries. From ancient Greece to modern day politics, the ability to effectively communicate ideas and influence others has been a key factor in shaping the course of history. Whether it's convincing someone to invest in a new business idea, getting them to support a political cause, or simply making a point in a heated discussion, the ability to persuade is an essential life skill. The importance of effective argumentation. Effective argumentation is crucial in many aspects of life. Whether you're trying to get a raise at work, make a case for a new policy in your community, or simply trying to convince your friend to see things your way, the ability to argue your point persuasively is an essential skill. Not only will it help you achieve your goals, but it will also make you a more confident and articulate communicator. The basics of critical thinking and logic. Critical thinking and logic are the foundation of effective argumentation. By using critical thinking skills, you can analyze arguments and evidence and make informed decisions about what you believe is true. Logic, on the other hand, is a structure that connects your ideas and supports your arguments. Together, critical thinking and logic form the backbone of effective argumentation. By developing these skills, you can become a better communicator and a more persuasive advocate for your ideas. The key components of persuasion. There are three key components to persuasion: ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos refers to your credibility and the trust that others have in you. Pathos appeals to emotions and feelings, while logos appeals to logic and reasons. To be an effective persuader, you need to understand how to use all three of these components in your arguments. Whether you're making a case to your boss for a raise or trying to convince your friends to support a political cause, combining ethos, pathos, and logos will make your arguments more persuasive and impactful. In conclusion, the art of persuasion is a crucial skill that is valuable in many aspects of life. By understanding the basics of critical thinking and logic and learning how to use ethos, pathos, and logos in your arguments, you can become a more confident and persuasive communicator. Chapter 2: The Basics of Critical Thinking and Logic. What is critical thinking? Critical thinking is a mental process of evaluating information, arguments, and evidence to form an informed opinion or judgment. It involves questioning assumptions, considering alternative perspectives, and analyzing information objectively. Critical thinking is a key component of effective argumentation because it helps you to understand and evaluate arguments, both your own and those of others. Developing critical thinking skills. There are several steps you can take to develop your critical thinking skills. 1. Question assumptions. Before accepting an argument as true, it's important to question any assumptions that underlie it. Ask yourself if there is any evidence to support the assumptions and consider alternative perspectives. 2. Analyze information objectively. When evaluating information, it's important to be objective and consider all sides of the issue. This means looking at both the strengths and weaknesses of an argument and considering alternative explanations. 3. Consider alternative perspectives. It's also important to consider alternative perspectives and look at an issue with multiple angles. This helps you to gain a better understanding of the issue and form a more informed opinion. 4. Use logic and reason. When making arguments, it's important to use logic and reasons to support your case. This means using clear, concise, and well-reasoned arguments to support your ideas. By developing these critical thinking skills, you will be better equipped to evaluate arguments, make informed decisions, and engage in effective argumentation. What is logic? Logic is a process of reasoning that allows you to draw a conclusion based on evidence and facts. It's a structure that connects your ideas and supports your arguments. In argumentation, logic is used to support your ideas and to evaluate the arguments of others. Basic rules of logic. There are several basic rules of logic that are important to understand. 1. Deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is a type of reasoning that uses a logical argument to reach a conclusion. This means that if the premises of an argument are true, the conclusion must also be true. 2. Inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is a type of reasoning that uses examples and evidence to support a conclusion. This means that the conclusion is based on the evidence but may not be proven to be true. 3. Valid arguments. A valid argument is one in which the conclusion follows logically from the premises. In other words, if the premises are true, the conclusion must also be true. 4. Sound arguments. A sound argument is a valid argument that also has true premises. In other words, a sound argument is a valid argument with true conclusions. By understanding these basic rules of logic, you will be better equipped to evaluate arguments and engage in effective argumentation. In conclusion, critical thinking and logic are the foundation of effective argumentation. By developing your critical thinking skills and understanding the basics of logic, you will be better equipped to analyze arguments, make informed decisions, and engage in effective argumentation. Chapter 3. The Importance of Effective Argumentation. Effective argumentation in everyday life. Effective argumentation is a vital skill that plays a role in many aspects of our daily lives. Whether we are negotiating with a colleague, persuading a friend to see our perspective, or defending our beliefs, argumentation is an essential tool that helps us to achieve our goals. By developing our ability to make well-reasoned arguments, we can more effectively communicate our ideas and influence those around us. The benefits of effective argumentation. There are many benefits to developing effective argumentation skills. 1. Improved decision making. By engaging in critical thinking and evaluating argumentations objectively, we can make more informed decisions. This can help us to avoid falling victim to misinformation or biases and make better choices. 2. Increased confidence. When we are able to effectively communicate our ideas and defend our beliefs, our confidence grows. This can help us to feel more secure in our opinions and more comfortable expressing them. 3. Better relationships. Effective argumentation can help to improve relationships by allowing us to better understand and respect the perspectives of others. This can lead to more productivity and positive interactions with those around us. 4. Improved problem solving. Effective argumentation can also help us to better solve problems by allowing us to evaluate information objectively and consider alternative perspectives. This can help us to find creative and effective solutions to challenges. Effective argumentation is a valuable skill that has numerous benefits in our daily lives. Whether we are negotiating with a colleague, persuading a friend, or simply expressing our opinions, the ability to make well-reasoned arguments can help us to achieve our goals and improve our relationships with those around us. Understanding different types of arguments. In argumentation, it's important to understand the different types of arguments that exist and the specific tactics that are used in each. Some of the most common type of arguments include 1. Deductive arguments. Deductive arguments are arguments in which the conclusion logically follows from the premises. In these arguments, the premises provide sufficient evidence for the conclusion. 2. Inductive arguments. Inductive arguments are arguments in which the conclusion is based on the evidence provided, but not necessarily logically deduced from the premises. These arguments are less certain than deductive arguments, but still provide compelling evidence for the conclusion. 3. Casual arguments. Casual arguments are arguments that seek to establish a casual relationship between two events or phenomena. These arguments aim to show that one event is the cause of another event. 4. Analogical arguments. Analogical arguments are arguments that rely on similarities between two things to make a conclusion. These arguments are often used to support a position or make prediction about future events. 5. Arguments from authority. Arguments from authority is an argument that relies on the expertise or reputation of a trusted source to support a conclusion. These arguments are often used in fields such as science, medicine, and law. 6. Ad hominem arguments. Ad hominem arguments are arguments that attack the character or personal traits of the person making an argument, rather than the argument itself. These arguments are often used as a way to discredit the argument and distract from the issues being discussed. By understanding these different types of arguments, you can identify the tactics that are being used in an argument and evaluate them more effectively. Chapter 4. Deductive and Inductive Reasoning. Valid and Invalid Arguments. Strong and Weak Arguments, and Emotional versus Logical Arguments. In this chapter, we will delve deeper into the concept of deductive and inductive reasoning. Valid and invalid arguments, strong and weak arguments, and emotional versus logical arguments. By understanding these concepts, you can develop the skills to evaluate arguments effectively and make informed decisions. 1. Deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is a type of reasoning in which the conclusion follows logically from the premises. In deductive arguments, the conclusion is a necessary outcome of the premises, and the premises provide sufficient evidence for the conclusion. Deductive reasoning is often referred to as top-down reasoning because the conclusion is derived from the premises. Example: Premise 1. All birds have wings. Premise 2. Sparrows are birds. Conclusion: Sparrows have wings. In this example, the conclusion is a necessary outcome of the premises, and the premises provide sufficient evidence for the conclusion. 2. Inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is a type of reasoning in which the conclusion is based on the evidence provided, but not necessarily logically deduced from the premises. In inductive arguments, the conclusion is a probable outcome of the premises, but not a necessary one. Inductive reasoning is often referred to as bottom-up reasoning because the conclusion is derived from the evidence. Example: Premise 1. The last 10 times I flipped a coin, it landed heads up. Premise 2. The next time I flip the coin, it will probably land heads up. Conclusion: the next time I flip the coin, it will probably land heads up. In this example, the conclusion is based on the evidence provided, but it is not necessarily logically deduced from the premises. The conclusion is a probable outcome of the premises, but not a necessary one. 3. Valid and invalid arguments. A valid argument is an argument in which the conclusion logically follows from the premises. A valid argument is one in which the premises provide sufficient evidence for the conclusion. An invalid argument is an argument in which the conclusion does not logically follow from the premises. An invalid argument is one in which the premises do not provide sufficient evidence for the conclusion. 4. Strong and weak arguments. A strong argument is an argument in which the premises provide compelling evidence for the conclusion. A strong argument is one in which the premises are well supported and provide strong support for the conclusion. A weak argument is an argument in which the premises provide weak or insufficient evidence for the conclusion. A weak argument is one in which the premises are not well supported or provided little support for the conclusion. 5. Emotional versus logical arguments. Emotional arguments are arguments that rely on emotions and feelings to support a conclusion. Emotional arguments often appeal to the emotions of the audience and are used to persuade them to accept a conclusion without logical support. Logical arguments, on the other hand, are arguments that rely on logic and reason to support a conclusion. Logical arguments are based on facts, evidence, and sound reasoning, and are used to persuade the audience to accept a conclusion based on logical support. In conclusion, understanding the concept of deductive and inductive reasoning, valid and invalid arguments, strong and weak arguments, and emotional versus logical arguments is an essential part of developing effective argumentation skills. By being able to evaluate arguments objectively and make informed decisions, you can achieve your goals and improve your relationships with those around you. Chapter 5. Preparation. Gathering evidence and developing a strategy. In order to win an argument, it is essential to be well prepared and equipped with the right information and strategy. In this chapter, we will explore the steps involved in preparing for an argument, including gathering evidence and developing a strategy. Gathering evidence. Before entering into an argument, it is important to gather evidence to support your position. Evidence can come in many forms, including facts, statistics, expert opinions, and personal experiences. The evidence you gather should be relevant, credible, and sufficient to support your argument. When gathering evidence, it is important to consider the following. Relevance. The evidence you gather should be relevant to the topic of the argument. Credibility. The evidence you gather should come from credible sources, such as reputable experts or reliable sources. Sufficient evidence. The evidence you gather should be sufficient to support your argument. 5. Developing a strategy. Once you have gathered the evidence to support your argument, it is important to develop a strategy for presenting your argument effectively. A good strategy should include the following elements. Outline. Create an outline of your argument, including the premises and conclusion. Anticipate objections. Anticipate the objections your opponent may raise and prepare counter arguments. Presentation style. Choose a presentation style that will be most effective in persuading your audience. Emphasize the most compelling evidence. Emphasize the evidence that is most compelling and relevant to your argument. Use examples. Use examples to illustrate your argument and make it easier for your audience to understand. By following these steps, you can develop a strong and effective strategy for winning an argument. In conclusion, preparing for an argument requires gathering relevant, credible, and sufficient evidence and developing a strategy for presenting your argument effectively. By being well prepared and equipped with the right information and strategy, you can increase your chances of winning an argument. Chapter 6: Researching the issue, anticipating counter arguments, building a strong case, and delivering your argument. In this chapter, we will delve deeper into the process of winning an argument by researching the issue at hand, anticipating counter arguments, building a strong case, and delivering your argument effectively. Researching the issue. Before entering into an argument, it is important to thoroughly research the issue at hand. Researching the issue will help you better understand the topic and to identify the relevant facts, statistics, and expert opinions. This will enable you to present a more informed and convincing argument. Anticipating counter arguments. Anticipating counter arguments is an important part of preparation. By anticipating the objections your opponent may raise, you can be better prepared to counter those objections and to defend your position. This will make your argument stronger and more persuasive. Building a strong case. Building a strong case requires combining the evidence you have gathered with logic and reasoning. This means presenting your evidence in a clear and organized manner and using deductive and inductive reasoning to support your argument. A strong case will be more convincing and will increase your chances of winning an argument. Delivering your argument. The final step in winning an argument is to deliver your argument effectively. This involves presenting your argument in a clear, concise, and convincing manner. When delivering your argument, it is important to consider the following. Body language. Use appropriate body language to convey confidence and to engage with your audience. Tone. Use a tone that is respectful and persuasive rather than aggressive or confrontational. Use of examples. Use examples to illustrate your argument and to make it easier for your audience to understand. Emphasize the most compelling evidence. Emphasize the evidence that is most compelling and relevant to your argument. By following these steps, you can deliver your argument effectively and increase your chances of winning the argument. In conclusion, researching the issue, anticipating counter arguments, building a strong case, and delivering your argument effectively are all critical steps in winning an argument. By being well prepared and delivering your argument effectively, you can increase your chances of success. Chapter 7: Communicating clearly and concisely and using persuasive language and tone. Clear and concise communication is an essential aspect of winning an argument. In this chapter, we will explore the importance of communicating clearly and concisely and the role that persuasive language and tone play in an argument. Communicating clearly and concisely. Clear and concise communication is essential in an argument as it allows your message to be understood and remembered by your audience. When communicating in an argument, it is important to stick to the point, stay focused on the topic at hand, and avoid introducing irrelevant information. Use simple language. Use simple, clear language that is easy to understand. Be concise. Avoid lengthy explanations and get to the point as quickly as possible. By communicating clearly and concisely, you will be more likely to get your message across and to win the argument. Using persuasive language and tone. In addition to communicating clearly and concisely, it is also important to use persuasive language and tone in an argument. Persuasive language and tone are powerful tools that can help you to influence your audience and win the argument. When using persuasive language and tone, it is important to use positive language. Use positive language to convey your message rather than negative language. Emphasize the benefits. Emphasize the benefits of your position rather than the drawbacks. Use emotional appeals. Use emotional appeals such as stories and example to connect with your audience. Maintain a respectful tone. Maintain a respectful tone throughout the argument, even when discussing opposing viewpoints. By using persuasive language and tone, you can increase your chances of winning an argument and influencing your audience. Stay calm and professional in the face of opposition. When engaging in an argument, it can be easy to become emotional and lose your composure. However, it is important to stay calm and professional in the face of opposition. This will not only make you appear more credible, but it will also allow you to think more clearly and respond effectively to counter arguments. Here are few tips to stay calm and professional in an argument. Take deep breaths. When you start to feel emotional, take a few deep breaths to calm yourself down. Listen actively. Listen actively to the other person's argument and try to understand their perspective. Keep your emotions in check. Avoid becoming defensive or attacking the other person personally. Instead, stay focused on the issue at hand. Stay respectful. Maintain a respectful tone and avoid using insults or name calling. By staying calm and professional in the face of opposition, you can maintain your credibility and keep the argument focused on the issues at hand. This will increase your chances of winning the argument and resolving the issue in a positive and productive manner. Chapter 8. Responding to counter arguments, refuting fallacies, staying open-minded, and admitting when you are wrong. In any argument, it is likely that you will face counter arguments from your opponent. It is important to be prepared to respond to these counter arguments effectively and to identify and refute common fallacies. Additionally, it is important to stay open-minded and avoid confirmation bias, and to admit when you are wrong and change your position if necessary. Responding to counter arguments. When you face a counter argument, it is important to respond in a thoughtful and effective manner. Here are a few tips for responding to counter arguments. Listen carefully. Listen carefully to the counter arguments and try to understand the other person's perspective. Ask questions. Ask clarifying questions to ensure that you have a full understanding of the counter argument. Refute the argument. Refute the argument by presenting evidence and reasoning that supports your position. Address the counter argument directly. Address the counter argument directly and explain why it is not valid or why your position is still the stronger one. By responding to counter arguments effectively, you can strengthen your position and increase your chances of winning the argument. Refuting fallacies. In an argument, it is common for fallacies to be used as a way to persuade others. It is important to identify and refute these fallacies in order to maintain the integrity of the argument and to ensure that you are making your case based on evidence and reasoning. Some common fallacies include ad hominem, attacking the person rather than the argument; straw man, distorting the other person's argument and then attacking the distorted version; hasty generalization, drawing a conclusion based on insufficient evidence; false analogy, comparing two things that are not alike. By identifying and refuting these fallacies, you can maintain the credibility of your argument and increase your chances of winning. Stay open minded and avoid confirmation bias. In an argument, it is important to stay open minded and avoid confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to seek out information that supports your position and ignore information that contradicts it. To stay open minded and avoid confirmation bias, it's important to seek out multiple sources of information. Gather information from a variety of sources to ensure that you're getting a well rounded perspective. Consider opposing viewpoints. Consider opposing viewpoints and be open to changing your position if new evidence suggests that you are wrong. Avoid overconfidence. Avoid overconfidence and be willing to admit when you are wrong. By staying open minded and avoiding confirmation bias, you can maintain the integrity of your argument and increase your chances of winning. Admitting when you are wrong and changing your position. In an argument, it is important to be willing to admit when you are wrong and to change your position if new evidence suggests that you are incorrect. Admitting when you are wrong is a sign of strength and can increase your credibility in the eyes of others. To admit when you are wrong and change your position, it is important to evaluate the evidence. Carefully evaluate the evidence and be willing to change your position if new evidence suggests that you are wrong. Be honest. Be honest and admit when you are wrong. Apologize. If necessary, apologize for any mistakes and take responsibility for your actions. Chapter 9. Advanced Argumentation Techniques. Ethos, pathos, logos, analogies, and metaphors. Debating tactics and avoiding traps. In addition to the basics of critical thinking and argumentation, there are several advanced techniques that you can use to enhance your arguments and increase your chances of winning. These techniques include using ethos, pathos, and logos effectively, creating compelling analogies and metaphors, and knowing debating tactics and avoiding traps. Ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos, pathos, and logos are the three main modes of persuasion that you can use in an argument. Ethos is the appeal to ethics and credibility. Pathos is the appeal to emotions, and logos is the appeal to logic and reason. To use ethos, pathos, and logos effectively in an argument, it is important to establish credibility. Establish your credibility and expertise in the subject matter. Use emotional appeals. Use emotional appeals to connect with your audience and to create a sense of urgency. Use logic and reason. Use logic and reason to support your argument and to convince your audience. By using ethos, pathos, and logos effectively, you can create a compelling argument that appeals to both the emotions and the reasoning of your audience. Analogies and metaphors. Analogies and metaphors are powerful tools that you can use to clarify complex concepts and make your arguments more memorable. To create effective analogies and metaphors, it is important to choose appropriate comparisons. Choose comparisons that are relevant to your argument and that your audience can easily understand. Keep it smile. Keep your analogies and metaphors simple and straightforward. Use vivid imagery. Use vivid imagery to create a strong emotional connection with your audience. By using analogies and metaphors effectively, you can clarify complex concepts, make your argument more memorable, and increase your chances of winning. Debating tactics and avoiding traps. In a debate, it is important to know tactics that can give you an advantage and to avoid common traps that can harm your argument. To be effective in a debate, it is important to know your opponent's arguments. Know your opponent's arguments and be prepared to respond to them. Use repetition. Repeat key points to reinforce your argument and to make it more memorable. Avoid common traps. Avoid common traps such as the straw man fallacy, ad hominem attacks, and hasty generalizations. By knowing debating tactics and avoiding common traps, you can give yourself an advantage in a debate and increase your chances of winning. In conclusion, by using ethos, pathos, logos, analogies, and metaphors, debating tactics, and avoiding common traps, you can enhance your arguments and increase your chances of winning. By combining these advanced techniques with the basics of critical thinking and argumentation, you can become an effective persuasive communicator and increase your chances of winning arguments in any setting. Chapter 10: Ethics in Argumentation. Honesty, transparency, respect, and unethical techniques. In addition to the technical aspects of argumentation, it is also important to consider the ethical consideration involved in making a persuasive argument. By being honest, transparent, respectful, and avoiding unethical argumentation techniques, you can increase the credibility of your arguments and ensure that you are using them in an appropriate manner. Honesty and transparency. Honesty and transparency are crucial components of ethical argumentation. To be honest and transparent, it is important to accurately present facts and data. Accurately present the facts and data that supports your argument. Avoid misleading claims. Avoid making misleading claims or presenting information in a misleading manner. Be transparent about your sources. Be transparent about the sources of your information and the basis of your claims. By being honest and transparent in your argumentation, you increase your credibility and the credibility of your argument. Respect for opinions of others. Respecting the opinion of others is an important component of ethical argumentation. To respect the opinions of others, it is important to listen actively. Listen actively to the opinions of others and try to understand their perspective. Avoid personal attacks. Avoid personal attacks and instead focus on the arguments themselves. Recognize the value of diversity. Recognize the value of diversity and the importance of hearing multiple perspectives. By respecting the opinion of others, you create a more open and respectful environment for argumentation and increase the chances of reaching a mutually beneficial outcome. Avoid unethical argumentation techniques. Unethical argumentation techniques include using tactics such as lying, misrepresenting facts, and using personal attacks. To avoid unethical argumentation techniques, it is important to know the tactics. Know the unethical argumentation techniques to be able to identify and avoid them. Use only credible sources. Use only credible sources and be transparent about their credibility. Avoid personal attacks. Avoid personal attacks and instead focus on the arguments themselves. By avoiding unethical argumentation techniques, you increase the credibility of your arguments and maintain the integrity of the argumentation process. In conclusion, by being honest, transparent, respectful, and avoid unethical argumentation techniques, you can increase the credibility of your arguments and ensure that you're using them in an appropriate and ethical manner. By incorporating these ethical considerations into your argumentation, you can become a more effective and credible communicator and increase your chances of winning arguments in any setting. Conclusion. The art of winning arguments require a combination of strong communication skills, the ability to understand and respond to the perspective of others, and an understanding of the underlying principles of effective argumentation. Whether you are engaging in a casual conversation or a formal debate, by using the strategies outlined in this audiobook, you can become a confident and persuasive communicator who can successfully advocate for your position and win arguments in a respectful and effective manner. By approaching discussions with an open mind, a willingness to listen, and a commitment to finding common ground, you can become a skilled negotiator who can effectively navigate even the most contentious of debates.